All right, everyone, we have to talk about it. It's here. The thing that everyone was a little bit worried about when the president said, we're going to give you guys a bunch of free money. Remember that about a year ago when a lot of people were super excited about this stimulus package that was coming and all this free money that we were going to get. But remember, there was a couple people who were a little bit freaked out about it. And you might have thought, why would anybody think that this is a bad thing? We're going to get free money. Well, it's here. Our worst nightmare. Inflation. Now, I'm sure you guys are hearing about this word all over the place on the news and on any finance channel, and anybody who knows anything about finance is talking about inflation. You're probably starting to see it in the gas that you're buying or the food that you're buying, or just basic goods are going up in price. So today what I'm going to do is talk a little bit about inflation, but more importantly, I'm going to talk about how you can beat inflation, and that's going to be super exciting so that you don't have to freak out the next time that this happens. Hey everyone, my name's Nolan. My students call me Professor G, and it is my passion helping young people understand personal finance and the ins and outs of starting a business. Let's do this. So now real quick, what is inflation? Inflation is just basically when goods and things that you like to buy, products and things like that, go up in price. So instead of something like a loaf of bread being like $3, now it's $3.50. While that's not a huge deal for that one loaf of bread, if that was the only thing that went up, the way that we measure inflation is when all goods and things like that go up. So things like gas or food or water or basic, things like soap. So all different consumer products, if they all generally rise, that's basically inflation. And so inflation isn't something totally new and crazy. Every year we have inflation of about 2%. Sometimes it's less, closer to 1%. Sometimes it's more, closer to 3%. But basically we have an average of about 2%. The reason why everyone's freaking out right now, though, is because we're at closer to like 5.5%. And there's new reports that keep coming out that keep showing that we're probably going to reach even higher than that. When it starts tipping something closer to 5%, that's when things start to get a little bit crazy, because most people that get a raise based off of the annual inflation rate, which is usually 2%. So if you only get a raise of 2%, but the inflation and things you're buying around you are up 5%, you've actually lost 3% on your money. So why do we need to understand this thing called inflation? The reason is that everyone tells young people, and just people in general, that they just need to save their money. Save, 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 don't spend. Yes, that is important, but that's only half of the equation. By saving your money, you're actually losing money long term if that's all you do with it. For example, if you have $10,000 in the bank and inflation goes up 5%, now you've lost basically 5% of the buying power of that $10,000. So if it continued to go up and for years you have high inflation or something like that, which totally could happen, especially given what just happened over the last 2 years, then your $10,000 that you work super hard to save could turn into $8,000, $5,000 in actual buying power. Because if everything's going up around it, that money is worth much, much less. The problem is that inflation is just going to keep happening, and there's going to be things just like this that happen if it's not inflation, where your buying power is going to go down. And so it's my passion for me to teach you guys how to set yourself up for success. And my goal is to get this out to more people, especially young people, where they're not teaching this in school as much as I'd like and as much as I'd hoped. So if you would please, please, please subscribe to this channel, like this video, please comment down below. The YouTube algorithm is kind of tough. It only gives this video out to people if YouTube thinks that people actually like it. And it only thinks that people like it if you guys click that like button or if you comment. Engagement is huge. I just think that our school system could do a little bit better of a job, and so I'm gonna go ahead and take that burden on. So help me out and I'll help you guys out.
Help me, Rod. Help me. Help you. Help me. Help you.
Thank you. So how do we beat inflation? First and foremost, as far as savings goes, I always recommend having about 1 to 3 months worth of your expenses, your household expenses, in a savings account, in an account where you don't touch, and it is one of those accounts that, yes, it is losing money because of inflation, yeah. The importance of that account is to be able to take money out of it if you absolutely need it. If something crazy happened, like hospital bills, or you lose a job unexpectedly, you can then have a month to 3 months or so where you are able to live off of that money and you don't have to freak out too much or take money out of investments. So now that we understand that, what you want to do to beat inflation very, very simply is you need to own assets. So what is an asset? An asset versus a liability. In Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki very, very simply states that an asset is basically something that puts money into your bank account or into your pocket, and a liability takes money away. So for example, if you had a business or a side hustle or something like that, every month it would generate a certain amount of money, and that money would be put into your bank account or into your pocket. So that's an asset. Conversely, a liability would be something like a car, where if you have a car payment, every month you'd have to pay money out of your bank account. Some people get that confused because they say the car itself is an asset. While yes, when you sell it, you will get money back for it, it's actually a liability today in that you're having to pay for it, and so money is leaving you, not bringing money in. Just to clear all that up. So, as far as assets, I have 3 main asset classes that I want you guys to start thinking about. Number 1 is going to be stocks. The reason why I choose stocks is because they're relatively cheap compared to some of the other things that I'm going to suggest, so you can be buying your stocks today. Now, the safest and best stocks that I recommend are going to be either an index fund or an ETF or something like that. The S&P 500 is one that I talk about a lot in my channel and in my classes. I also really like the total stock market index, usually one that has a good track record that returns about 8 to 10% every year is one that I'd recommend that you go with. Now, these stocks aren't traditionally like the funnest stocks in the world. They're not like Tesla or something that it's just going to go up 100% in a year, but it is something that'll be consistent. And when we're talking about beating inflation, you want consistency. If you do prefer investing more in individual stocks or adding some individual stocks into your portfolio, I recommend that you go with recession resistance type stocks. So basically what that means is think about during a recession, what do people do? Usually what happens during a recession is people have way less money, and so they start picking and choosing what they're buying and what they're doing. When everything's good, they're able to buy luxury goods and they're able to spend a whole bunch of money. When they start losing their money, they start cutting back on things and only buying essential things. So companies like Visa or MasterCard, things where you're going to have to kind of use that no matter what, that's a good type of company to own. Or even something like Target or Costco, because you still have to buy food and you still have to buy certain goods that you need to live no matter what. So you're not really going to cut those type spending. I also like companies like Apple and Microsoft and Berkshire Hathaway because if you look at their balance sheet, they hold a lot of cash. They have a lot of money just in case something bad happens. Other reason why I really, really like those type of companies just forever is because when the recession happens or when, everybody's having a hard time, the smaller and less well-run businesses are just barely keeping their head above water. They're barely surviving, and so they can't think of anything strategic or do anything really at that point. Whereas companies like Apple, they have so much money on hand, they've been through this, they've done that, and so what they do is they capitalize during the time when everybody is barely surviving. That's when they make their deepest strategic moves. Because of that, when the market then corrects, which it always does, they're in a better position. And that's why they just blast off to the moon, because they're just running on that strategic endeavor that they put in place when everyone else was just barely surviving. So that's why I recommend them and buying and holding for a long period of time. The second asset class that I totally recommend is going to be rental properties. Obviously, a rental property of some sort when you're buying a house or a duplex or something like that is a very big upfront cost. But if you are able to save up right now and be able to work towards buying one of those or 2 of those or however many you can get your hands on, it's going to be very, very important. The reason again is when a recession happens or some big pandemic happens or something crazy, people still need a place to live. And even more so, unfortunately, during a recession or during a pandemic or something, people might even lose their house or because they lost a job or something like that. And so they need actually a place to rent. And so that's why rental property is usually a really, really good idea. Now, for me personally, I think it's an even better idea to make sure that your rental properties are ones that are not like in a luxury neighborhood or super, super high price. Now, that's why I'm also a little weary on investments in Airbnb or something like that, because usually for Airbnb to be a good investment, you need it to be in a place where it's usually a little more expensive because it's closer to things like attractions or concerts or downtown areas where people actually want to go, and those are usually more expensive. The problem with Airbnb, though, is during a recession, people are going to do a lot less traveling because they have less money, and so that might be an issue. So figure out what works best for you. Obviously, there are people that are killing it in the Airbnb space. It's just something for you guys to think about. The third asset class that I definitely always recommend to everyone, and obviously because I am a professor in entrepreneurship, is to start a business. Now, I don't mean that you need to start like a full-fledged, full-time business. You could always just start a side hustle, and I recommend everybody starts a side hustle. By owning some type of business or a side hustle, you have money coming in, and it's an asset, of course, because that money is coming in. Now, once again, be very, very careful that it's not just luxury goods that you're selling. Like we've talked about before, if it is luxury goods or something that's super, super high price that people can afford when things are good, just know that it might be something tough for people to pay for when they've lost their income. So try to think of something that's a good or a service that people will want no matter what, and make sure that it's fairly priced so that people can stick with it even through hard times. So for me and my advice, I think the easiest is just to buy and hold an index fund or an ETF like the S&P 500 or the total stock market. It's an easy way to get in. It's something you can do consistently. You could always put, $200, $100, $500 a month away into this and let it build. A practical example of this is right now, year to date, so from January to now, if you would have put that $10,000 in by January, you'd have $12,000. It's gone up 20%. 20%. So when they're talking about the fact that inflation's at 5%, I'm not freaking out because I do have my money in the S&P 500. So I know even though my buying power has gone down 5%, my investment has gone up 20%. And so overall, I'm at a net of 15%. So it's still gone up. That's why I'm not worried. And that's why I want you to not be worried when you have assets just like that. And just know that 20% is not typical, and that is super high for a year for any investment to go up. But typically it is around 10%. And so understanding that inflation is normally around 2%, anything that's going to get you above 5% is going to be a good investment for you to do. That's all I got for you today. Make some wise decisions, invest smart, and get some assets, people. Professor G, out.